Yeah. Hi, good evening. So today I'm just going to share my journey, which I'm calling Shape Up for Good. Or particularly, I'm focusing on how I lost 12 pounds that I gained during the pandemic. Now, I've actually um, lost weight a significant amount for at least 4 times in my life. And each time I maintained that weight loss for over 5 years. And then eventually got back out of shape in terms of my weight. So I'm not going to go into all of that history because we don't have time. So this is me about 2012 or 2013. My brother took this picture. We're in a Japanese restaurant. And at that time, this was my kind of thinking. I certainly accepted that being healthy and fit, it wasn't a fad or a trend, that it's a lifestyle. And I accepted the Ministry of Health's motto, which is your health is your responsibility. And when I finished, I was doing a master's of public health at the time this picture was taken, and I actually gained about 20 pounds during the master's of public health because I was so stressed that it was just a very hectic time of my life. So it was very difficult to eat healthily. I kept being very fit, but my eating was not in the best way. And at the end, I had a master's in public health with a specialization in health promotion and wanted to do health promotion for fun so that people, my friend here, Lacey says, oh, she wants to be well so that I won't be, I won't be pressuring her because I really have a inherent interest in both having myself and other people be healthier. So I wanted to know how could I be a picture of health so that I could actually, you know, give people advice based on being a model of health. So my story is that as I lost over 40 pounds, I had wanted to lose it fast, and it never happened fast this time. In 2014, I started early December 2013. And in about a year and a half, I don't know the exact time, I lost 40 pounds and I kept it off consistently all the way through 2021. But somewhere in 2021, as I got some level of depression and frustration in the middle of COVID, I gained somewhere between 12 to 15 pounds. I didn't record it because I was so upset. And I didn't recognize that now I'm maintaining a weight loss of 30 pounds. But then I got it back off and now I'm back onto, as of right now, today, I'm maintaining a weight loss of 44 pounds today. It's the maximum weight I know of. Certainly the weight I was in December 2013. And question people have asked me is how long did it take? Well, I already answered that question. If you don't reach your desired size, is the outcome worth it? I'm going to discuss that soon. And how can I lose extra weight I gained during the COVID pandemic? A couple people just asked me that just the other day when I went on a staff trip. So this is my first before and after picture that I took that picture on the left because I told a friend of mine that I intended to lose somewhere between 30 to 25 to 50 pounds. And she said, oh my God, that's too much. I still remember. Anyway, so I did it. This is my brother David, and it looks like both of us seem to have gotten in better shape. And we have kept it off. But on the right, that's me and him at a recent event with his second coffee table book, Pieces of Jamaica. And this is me at a staff trip. It's really good to be at a body size that even though you think you're not perfect, you can be around coworkers and not be too worried about how you are and just be comfortable in your skin. That's what's really good about it. I even, for the fun of it, about 3 years ago, 2019, I entered a body transformation competition. And you'd be like, so why am I not in a bikini? Because it wasn't required. So I put in tight fitted clothes, and that's I won a trophy. Anyway, so people tend to ask the wrong questions. Why does it take so long to lose 50 pounds? I think that's a wrong question because if it is, Like right about here, I'm at about 50 pounds weight loss from my highest pound of 183. It's really about losing weight or losing body fat actually in safe ways. That's what's important. Um, and just as a side note, I like the concept that bodybuilders have of being off season and on season, which is different than yo-yo dieting. So to be at this size is for me not feasible, but it's fine to go down there for special events or for a competition, but that's only 10 pounds from where I am right now. So maintaining within a 10-pound gap, as far as I know, based on reading the scholarly literature, is fine. For me, staying right at that size is not really feasible for me. So it's in line with a particular sport mindset, and I think it works for me. So from my point of view, the sad news was I gained weight in the middle of the pandemic, and I was looking through my pictures on Facebook, and I think this might represent then. I know I'm a little bit slimmer from when I was there. So that's myself and my brother and my father. And I was so upset with the gaining of 10 pounds or 12 pounds that I had to remind myself that I'm maintaining a weight loss of 30 pounds. It was very difficult. So for this presentation, I decided to look up. But for those who know, if you're into science, people do single empirical studies to discover things. And then the best type of science are called systematic reviews, where they look at a group of empirical studies. Usually they're restricted to the best ones, if it's the best kind of systematic review, and see what has been discovered. So weight loss controlled registry is a record of what works for weight loss. So I reviewed a paper published in 2020 about what works for weight loss according to weight control registries across the world. And there is evidence that most people regain their weight in the long run, as we all know from just observing the world. So I was actually criticizing myself because I gained 10 pounds in the middle of a major crisis. I was having a really difficult time. I was really being way too critical because I'm in a very small percentage of people who have managed to maintain my weight loss. In particular, there is evidence based on studies of people that even a 5% weight loss improves health outcomes. Only 5% of them. So a lot of us, especially over 40, are thinking, oh, we need to be the weight or the size that we were when we were 18. But do we? Then more interestingly than that, there is also evidence that the process of weight loss maintenance, which is what I'm saying, shape up for good, is actually quite complex. According to 2 studies I have here quoted, it involves behavioral, cognitive, physiological, and physical environmental factors. You know, like physical environmental factors would be like if you put small plates rather than big plates, you tend to eat less food. You know, cognitive is like me. Like for example, my fitness motto always you will inspire others too. Part of the reason why I continue to maintain my weight loss is because I'm doing it partly to inspire other people. That's actually part of what actually works for me. And behavioral, I have a whole long series of things that works. But the point is, I've actually to figure out what works for me in all of these areas. It's not so, it could be simpler, but I'm not trying to come, but I'm just saying to win in that area is something to celebrate. So I work out for me. So my maximum weight that I know about was 183, and 5% of that is 9 pounds, 10% of that is 18 pounds, 15% of 27.4 pounds. And not only was I maintaining a weight loss of 5%, I've been maintaining over 15% for a very long time and feeling like it wasn't enough. So why was I sad that I gained 12 pounds during the lockdown? Because my clothes couldn't fit, because I no longer could celebrate my story, which is important to me, of 40 pounds weight loss, and because I was being way too hard on myself during that time of crisis. So this is me in Manchester in December, doing a selfie. And after I determined that I really wanted to get back, so I could have my clothes that I loved could fit me, I felt really great. And I can still be telling people the stories I like. That I've lost 40 pounds and been keeping it off for now. It's seven plus years. And this actually affects my mental health and self-image. Now, the thing I would say to everybody listening here, whether you struggle with weight loss or any different component of your health, you actually have to figure out what works for you and what works for your self-image, and not to be too hard on yourself, because that can affect your health all by itself. So I'm definitely glad that I lost 10 pounds, because I feel like that I'm a picture of health. I mean, as a side note, in the last year as well, I did a test for cholesterol, I did a general blood work, and the blood work showed that my cholesterol numbers, at least one or two of them, was out of whack. And I changed my diet, and my cholesterol numbers are now in range, and the doctor is now happy, and I'm happy. And the point is, I want to be a picture of health. So, so even though the 12 pounds was just at the borderline of being, I was just at technically, just at the technically overweight, I know it wasn't really having a big impact on my health, but it makes me feel good. So what did I do to lose that weight? So this is back in 2019 when why was I doing a push-up on this floor? Because they told me, I didn't know when I got there. I talked to them, found people in Canada. This is in Montego Bay. They told me that I need to do what is it? Something they needed me to do something that could show that I had skill. And I had not practiced anything. So I said, well, I guess I can do push-ups. So I did 20 push-ups with that guy who was also in the competition. And he ended up being furthered. A little girl who was about 12. She went up to me afterwards and said, could you do a selfie with me, because she can't even do one push-up. She can't believe I can do like so many. It was just fun. Yeah. So what did I do to lose the 12 pounds recently? So I had to reset my mind, because I was really upset with myself. I had to say to myself, I did it before, I can do it again. I bought an Apple Watch in July 2022, and this has really been the best purchase per dollar for me in the last year, because I saw a video where somebody was talking about how it helped them. And I thought, you know what? I've been pondering it for the last 6 months since I've changed from Android to Apple. And I watched a video and I thought, I think this is going to be right up my alley, because I'd owned other fitness watches before. And this has been the best fitness watch for me. So it really has prompted me to take more steps, to stand up more. And it's really good for my personality. So I've definitely been more physically active. I haven't changed my amount of weight training, because I love weight training. I basically do that. And for me, mindset and nutrition is really the key to shaping up. So for me, and by the way, the literature shows that, I don't know what Carol would tell us, but almost any nutritional approach can be effective for fat loss, weight loss, based on the literature. But you actually have to keep at it and something that you want to do. So for me, a low carb approach works. It's not that low, but I tend to go low carb. I use intermittent fasting on days that I don't weight train. I eat a lot of vegetables. I have more than one person telling me that I don't eat enough protein. So I've been increasing my protein recently to cover from weight training. And basically, I have very simple, consistent meals, just to make it rather simple. When I eat on the road, I specifically either ask for less rice or don't eat the rice. I do all kinds of things that works for me. And as I said, I continue my resistance training at home 3 times per week. So for me, one of my dangers is all or nothing thinking. So this is at Dunn's River Falls on the left with my mother and brother. And no matter how much my father was telling me this time or many other times to smile, I was like, smile, why? As opposed to This is me, I don't know, in the last maybe about 6, 7 years ago. And this was at Duns River. Not it's a little Duns River, right close. It's like maybe 5 minutes away drive from Duns River Falls. And because I now know that I need to smile about life, it really has helped how I approach things. So how is mindset important for shaking up for good? I decided to use some proverbs. It is better to take small steps in the right direction than to make a great leap forward, only to stumble back. A huge part of losing weight is believing you can do it and realizing it's not going to happen overnight. And when you feel like quitting, think about why you started. You need to eat good food, and including things like sources of omega-3, vegetables, healthy fats. The thing about healthy fats, especially nuts, I find is that you need to be careful. So what I do is I find that I need to buy very small amounts of things that I tend to overeat, because if I buy it and it's in the fridge or in the house, I will overeat it. So anything that is healthy that you will overeat, just don't have it in your possession, or a very small amount, because you can actually eat almost anything. Obviously not trans fats. Certain things are actually bad for your health. We all know. Like literally junk food, highly processed food, we know already. But there's some things that are good for your health that we tend to overeat. You need to be careful about those things. Complex carbohydrates are definitely key for you to have sufficient fiber in your diet. Eric McAdams says, if you keep good food in your fridge, you will eat good food. Your diet is a bank account. Good food choices are good investments. While weight loss is important, what's more important is the quality of food you put in your body. Food is information that quickly changes your metabolism and genes. And physical activity. Some people believe that physical activity is more important for fat loss and weight loss than actually it is. But the studies show that people who tend to maintain weight loss, or in other words, shape up for good, are tending to be people who keep fit. So my theory or my hypothesis is that it's more a confounding factor, to use fancy words, as in, I actually believe that people who have the mindset to do the right thing in terms of eating are the people who also have the mindset to keep fit. I don't think it's actually the keeping fit, but since when you weight train, exercise, you improve your metabolism, it certainly helps. But the amount of exercise you actually need in order to lose weight is actually a whole lot, as you probably all know. So since exercise is medicine, there's so much evidence for that. I recommend to everybody that you exercise. If you do weight training or resistance training, even with your body, let's mean just doing a squat, you can reduce your likelihood for osteoporosis and osteopenia, as in the chance that your bones will be soft and eventually break. You want to do that. So please lift your own groceries at the supermarket. And you also want to do cardiovascular exercise of whichever kind, whether you prefer to walk, which is the cheapest kind, or run, or swim, or bicycle, or whatever else you like to do that is movement. It's really good for you. People who keep fit in their cardiovascular fitness are less likely to have heart disease, which is the #1 killer in the world, in the USA, in Jamaica. So you don't have to go fast, you just have to go. Exercise should be regarded as a tribute to the heart. Walking, the most ancient exercise and still the best modern exercise. If you think lifting, and this guy here is like one of these experts on physical lifting of weights, is dangerous, try being weak. Being weak is dangerous. I actually love that quote. So why is weight loss maintenance of 40 pounds? This is a story about me. Exceptional. Why? Because 20% of 183 pounds is 36.6 pounds. I've been keeping up more than that. Right now, today is 44 pounds. I think that's almost 25%. I didn't work it out for today. And it's worthy of celebration. So if you have ever been overweight, if you have ever been unfit, if there's some part of your life that you've changed, celebrate it. So what can you do to maintain fat loss? There are many things, and 6 of them that are important is having a mindset makeover, eating well, exercising regularly, having sufficient sleep. For those who don't know, not having enough sleep tends to lead to eating more, as well as a host of other horrible things. So to maintain fat loss, sleep enough. So generally for most typical people, it's suggested that 7 to 8 hours is typical. I tend to not get that, and I'm still trying to work on that because that's really essential for aging well. Stress management is also important because people who have higher levels of chronic stress will tend to eat too much and tend to not handle life well, and that tends to lead to high cortisol levels, which is what leads to eating more. The point is, it's not good. So you want to do whatever you can to manage your stress, and there are a whole bunch of techniques. And we'll have time today to talk about it. And social support. So that's everything from finding people who can support you in your goals, as well as if you're around people who are naysayers telling you this don't make any sense. So like, for example, I remember when I had lost a whole lot of weight some years ago. I had 2 coworkers telling me. One told me when he asked me, a guy who's still my coworker, he asked me what I was doing. So I told him at the time. And he said, but that's not sustainable. I said, you can't be telling what's sustainable for me. And here I am still doing what he considers not sustainable. And another lady saw me and she said, oh, you seem to have lost weight. And I said, yes, I've reshaped. And she said, well, you soon put it back on. And I didn't respond in a very positive way, but I said it in a way that she actually didn't even know what to say. And I still remember those things because some people are just not positive about you making progress in your life. So you actually need to get away from those people in regard to your goals and stick to people and in fact, what is funny for me is that I had so many people asking me what works that I have, for fun, gone and done health coach certificate and help people. And it's just been an interesting journey. So this is about 8 to 9 years in between. This is last year, I think early December, and not sure it's either 2012 or 2013 that picture before was taken. So I am a fit nerd. My biomarkers are improving. My motto is always you inspire others too. When I look at those pictures, I'm wondering, could it be that I'm looking and feeling better with age? And I want to suggest, if I can do it, it is likely that you could do it too. Never give up. And that's my presentation. Shape Up for Good, it's possible. Just start, maintain a good routine, it's worth it. Yeah, so any comments, questions? I don't know if I've been talking too long. So that was about half an hour. Thanks for
I think that was fantastic. I appreciate all the encouragement that you had in there because it's not easy to maintain.
Thank you, Daisy.
Suzanne, I enjoyed your presentation as well. Very well explained and thoughtful walk through your journey. And I can only imagine towards the end when you were saying how people were saying negative things about, you won't be able to keep off the weight or you'll soon lose it. And I know if it happened to have been a Jamaican person who was saying it, I know it's a typical thing in Jamaica to say those things.
Yeah.
And always telling people how they're getting fat and all this thing and so forth. So it's almost a part of the culture. So how do you overcome, or what are your recommendations for people when people say insensitive things to you? What are some of the techniques that you employ to offset or mitigate those negative
Mm.
comments?
There's a whole lot of things. I think the most important thing is why. So from the time I watched Simon Sinek, who is the most celebrated person on this particular idea. So he had a video on start with why. The first thing is that you need to know your why. So it doesn't matter what anybody says if you know why you're doing what you're doing. That's what's important. Whether it's business, whether it's your work, whether it's your hobbies, you actually have to know why. So that way somebody else can't derail it. Because if you know why you're doing what you're doing, like what does their comment have to do? If it's within your family and friends, it's another story. But especially if a outsider who you don't know whether or not they have any interest in your best well-being, their distraction. I actually know that some people are very sensitive to others more than, so I'm not somebody who, what I tend to be is just super annoyed. So I'm like, I'm going to prove them wrong. That's sorry. My instinct is I'm going to prove them wrong because not only I know my why, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll show you. So, but I know not everybody has that kind of gumption. So I would say to everybody, if you know your why. But the other thing is you also need to know that what you're doing is working. You see, because like, for example, I'll give you another example. A student sent to me once when, because you know, students, even at one point even wore t-shirts that said like things about fitness to work. So everybody know, just from what, everything I do, a lot of people know that I'm into fitness and whatever. So one student said to me, oh, so now that you've lost the weight, you can stop exercising now. No, you see, you notice I just told you that there's evidence in the scientific literature that people who keep working out actually maintain weight loss. It's highly correlated. So whether, you know, correlation is not necessarily a causation, but there's a strong correlation. And we know independent of that, exercise is really good for you. So why would I ever stop exercising unless I was literally ill? You know, like for example, 150 something days ago, I had a calf injury and I had to one day not finish my, I was very disappointed. I was trying to get the move goal on the Apple Watch every day. I couldn't that day because I was injured. So in order to protect myself from more injury, I actually had to rest, you know, for my own good health. So back to the story. If it is that you know, if you're expert enough, you can go on your expertise, but that's why you have other experts. You can talk to physicians, you can talk to personal trainers, you can talk to nutritionists, you can read, you can, you know, you can, if necessary, pay a health coach or a personal trainer. But if what you're doing is based on evidence, you need to continue based on evidence. And if you're not sure what's the best evidence, you can do an experiment on yourself. Let's see if this particular nutritional goal works for me. Because back to, there'll be people, like right now, one of the biggest debates that's going on is as to what nutritional approach works. So some people are into keto, some people are into low carb, some people are into, you know, vegan or vegetarian, etc., etc. And it tends to be really almost nasty, as an example. No, I just told you, I suggested that based on what I see, low carb and some intermittent fasting seems to work for me. And even that, I can't even say that I know that for sure, because unless I've done an experiment on myself, how do I know that for sure? But you know, I try to step back and look, but at the end of it, Emily, it is really good to do a combination of using science when you can, using your experience where you can, and having support. That support is positive self-talk, including your why, your experience, your reflection. Part of the support is your friends, your family. And the thing about it, we all know that friends and family sometimes can also make toxic statements to us. So you also have to sometimes self-protect from people who should be well-meaning, as in they even think they're caring and they say things that are wrong. I can even think back to when I was a young adult and a close relative of mine, when I weighed, said, oh my God, you weigh so much. They didn't really understand that, like, if you weight train, you actually have more muscles. And so, we're all in the culture caught up way too much on on the weight. Really, what a much better thing is actually your fat percentage. Most people don't know that. So in fact, I've even heard a doctor, which is really fascinating, who talks about it's actually your muscle mass that's most important. So like Dr. Peter Attia, he says that if you're in your 20s, the best thing you can do for your health is weight training, including women. Because if you, and then he continues, because the guy who was interviewing said, so what about people who are older? He said, yeah, and that continues. But he said, if you don't do weight training when you're young, of some kind, whether it's body resistance or otherwise, you'll never get to your max. But many people don't know that, how important actually having muscles are. So I've had people in my family telling me, waste of time. I've had doctors telling me in session, just about that, just telling me that, why am I wasting my time going to the gym? I could just do. Listen, I've now seen in the science that what I was doing when I didn't know how good it was for me, because I like doing it, actually has been so valuable. So Emily, sometimes you can't be sure that what you're doing is right, but you do the best you can until you know what to do better. And where you can, you find, I would want to call it a fitness tribe or a tribe that can support you. In my life, I've discovered that you actually need different tribes for different things. So like I've joined your business tribe, and I have my fitness tribe separately, and I have people for scholarship. And really you find a tribe for anything you're doing. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's good. You covered the gamut and also spoke to family when your family is, or friends or people close to you say, as you say, insensitive things as well, how to deal with that. But I think going back to, as you said, your why is your kind of North Star guide and kind of knowing better. And that's a part of the muscle, the mental muscle is being strengthened as well.
Right.
Resolve. Yeah, great.
Right. And everybody here, as far as I know, are all stars in their own way. Like, just a plug, Emily is having she's been a business coach for a long time, and she's having a supercharge club that she just started that you're welcome to join. It's just $7 per month. And but I don't know how far Carol is with her health coaching. So maybe we're sort of competing. But right now I'm kind of taking a little break from my health coaching, but I'm actually writing books. So part of this is I am sort of preparing myself for the launch of my books. So for those who don't know, I've finished the manuscript of my first book called Mindset Makeover. So that's a prompt for next week. So next week I'm going to, or in 2 weeks, I'm going to have another session about mindset. And you're welcome to come. So next week I'll actually have a family event that I won't be able to, won't be convenient to meet at this time. So Carol, did you have any comments or questions? Are you there?
Suzanne, she had put in the chat that she was in another meeting and couldn't speak a little earlier on.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, well, that was basically my that's my 2 cents for today. Lacey smiles.
Thank you. That was great.
Yeah. Yes, guys. So, well, thanks very much for coming. And I didn't want to make it long. I think 45 minutes is good. I didn't practice. Sorry, I spent quite a bit of time on the slide, but I didn't actually practice. So I said, yeah, man, my goal was no more than 50 minutes, and we're at 45 minutes at the time when we would have started. So yeah, I'm good. I'm hoping that you'll come again, and I'm wishing you a wonderful week.
Thank you, Suzanne. Where on YouTube is this being streamed to?
Let me end this first. Let me end the live. And then I'm going to answer your question. Why is this not ending?